I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm speaking with Joshua Seftel, the director of the Oscar-nominated short documentary Stranger at the Gate, which you can currently view on YouTube. The first thing I wanted to ask is about the film's subject, Mac McKinney. Since you finished this documentary, has he become involved in helping people escape and come out of hateful ideologies?
Yes, he has. In fact, that's a huge part of his mission these days. He was a guy who set out to blow up a mosque in Indiana. He was a domestic terrorist essentially, and he today is someone who stands up to hate and speaks about it all over the country and is trying to make the world a better place.
Do you know what specific programs he's been working with, or has he been working with a specific program or charity that tries to help people like that?
I don't know. I know he speaks around the country, and he does. I don't know how many screenings. I mean, how many talks a year? Probably like 30 or 40. So it's almost like his full-time job of just traveling around to different cities and talking.
So it's such a the story of this Marine who comes back from Afghanistan, and it was Afghanistan, correct?
Yeah, well, he actually served in many places, but Afghanistan was one of them.
He comes back and he has all this PTSD he's dealing with, and he decides he wants to take it out on a mosque in his hometown of Muncie, Indiana. How did you first come across the story?
We found the story in a newspaper article, and we immediately set out to try to find the people. And there's Mac, who's the U.S. Marine who planned to bomb this mosque in his hometown, and then there were all the people at the mosque, the congregants who met him face to face, and that's where the story really takes off. Is that meeting.
And how long was that process of from when he first entered the mosque, when he was kind of scoping it out, to when he finally said to himself, I'm not going to go through with this?
Yeah. So, he initially he had plans to blow up the mosque, and he actually built the bomb, and he was planning to do it. He didn't know exactly when, but he was planning to do it. And then he had a confrontation with his daughter. She was 8 years old at the time. She's the character in the film, Emily McKinney, and she was friends with a Muslim kid, and Mac heard about it, and he freaked out on her, and he screamed at her, and she looked at him like, "What is wrong with you? Like, why do you have so much hate?" And he that was the first crack. That was the first kind of moment where I think he began to question whether what he was doing was right. So he set out and he went to the mosque to gather more information, to scope it out, and to prove that he was right, that Muslims are bad. That's what he was trying to prove, and that it was justified that he should bomb this mosque. And when he went there, it was in 2009, and he the first time he went, the congregants, Bibi Barami, Sabra Barami, are the couple. They're Afghan refugees. They're a married couple, and they greeted him, and they greeted him with kindness. They saw him and they were like, "This guy's kind of scary, but we're going to be welcoming and kind because it's who we are." And Saber got on his knees and hugged Mac's legs, and that was like this moment where I think Mac was like, "What is going on? This is not what I expected. I thought, these people were going to be really mean and evil and dangerous, and they're like loving me." And he was confused, but then he started to come back to the mosque after that, and the Barami started to really show him respect and include him in their community. And so it's just a few weeks that I think Mac started to change the way he thought about Muslims, from going from hate to love. And it's sort of a beautiful example of this idea that the only thing that can conquer hate is love.
It's interesting. You said that this happened in like 2009, 2010, and I'm curious. I don't know if you know this personally, but what was Mac's reaction when when some of this Islamophobia started rearing its ugly head again? Specifically, like when Trump was running for president, calling for shutting down Muslims entering the U.S., and then the travel ban hitting. What was? Do you know what his reaction was to that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, especially I remember like when Christchurch happened. I don't know if you remember that in New Zealand, there was, a shooting of a mosque, and it was, a uh, terrible day. And, uh, Mac, I remember told me, he said like, that guy, he's like, that was me. He was like, that could have been me. He sees himself, his old self, in these kinds of acts of hate. And he also, I think, sees himself as someone who could be a messenger, someone who could show them another way. And that's what I think is really powerful about his story.
So, you've been working for a long time to chronicle Islamophobia in the United States through different projects. How did that journey start for you?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so I grew up in upstate New York in a small town. I faced a lot of anti-Semitism. People called me names, Jew kike, Jewish Josh. Kids would throw pennies at me in the hall.
I'm sorry, Jewish Josh just doesn't sound creative to me.
They could have done better. Um, Pennies were thrown at me, to show or show me that Jews are cheap. Someone threw a rock through the front window of our house. Things like that that just stuck with me. And after 9/11, when I saw my Muslim friends facing hate, I felt a connection, and I felt like, I'm a filmmaker now. What can I do to help? And so I started making films about American Muslims, and creating a platform to tell American Muslim stories. And this film, Stranger at the Gate, grew out of that. It's actually the 25th short film that we've made. And it's a big part of of my mission these days as a filmmaker.
So, as I said, it feels like the waves, like Islamophobia is always something that's there, but like it comes sort of like in waves, sort of like any other kind of hate. It feels like it always happens in waves. What are some of in what you've been chronicling? Do you think that there are still dangers for Muslims in America today? And what do you think the most pressing one of the, if there are, what do you think the most pressing ones are?
I mean, I think there's dangers for Muslims. I think there's dangers for Jews. You see it every day. You're hearing about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, and people hating Muslims, and it's it's everywhere. It's like we live in a dangerous time where hate keeps erupting into violence. And I think the way I see it is that we'll never end hatred, but it's just going to be a constant battle to educate people, to try to teach people that there is a shared humanity, that when we get to know each other, and we really get to know someone who's different from us, we usually learn that we have a lot in common, or at least a lot of shared aspects of our lives that we can connect around. And those differences and those fears start to melt away. And it's just been proven throughout history that that's the case. But it's always an uphill battle. I think we always have to be fighting against hate, and teaching people and giving people opportunities to get to know each other. And I think film is a really powerful way to do that. I think this film it shows our heroes, the members of the mosque, the Islamic Center of Muncie, and it shows their kindness and their humanity. And we really get to know them, and we're rooting for them. and then they teach us about kindness. I think there's a lesson about the power of kindness and compassion that they teach us in this film, and it's something that I feel if we all apply it in our own lives. You know, the main character of our film is named Bibi Barami, and we've joked that we should make T-shirts that say what would Bibi do with her face on it, you know, because I feel like if everyone acted like Bibi and was as kind and welcoming and open-hearted as she is, that the world would be such a better place.
So, as I mentioned before, the Stranger at the Gate is nominated at the Oscars for Best Documentary Short Subject. Congratulations on that, by the way. What was it like when you learned that you had gotten this Oscar nomination?
So there's actually a video of it, which you can show if you want. We can give you a clip, but we were all sitting and watching the broadcast on I believe it was like at 8:30 in the morning, and I really didn't want to record that moment because I was doubtful that we would be included. Maybe I'm a pessimist at heart, but I think I didn't want to get my hopes up. And but we were the fifth film that was named, and out of five, and we were elated, and largely because this film, like I said, it's part of a mission that we've been on to try to tell these stories about hate and love, and to try to open people's eyes. And the fact that it's on this at this level where it's being nominated for an Oscar and people are talking about it and we're doing interviews is it's what we hoped for. It's a way to share the message with the world and to get it onto the world stage. So we're really happy and delighted. And our executive producer is Malala, and she really represents what the story and what the film represents. And she's the embodiment of the message of our film, and she's really helping to spread the word as well. And she'll be at the Oscars with us, and we're really excited to share that moment with her.
Well, Joshua, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best over the next couple of weeks. And to our viewers, please like this video, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to go to goldderby.com and make all of your Oscar predictions. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Charlie.